Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new around here. Today we are going to be watching the grand final of the Winter Open in the MENA region, Regional 1. That was played this past Saturday, and as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, we're basically just going to be analysing and commentating over the game, but sort of just talking about it as the game is played in the background. That's a great pass from Khaled to Ahmad. Really good first goal to kick this game off for Team Falcons. And yeah, as you can see by the thumbnail, Falcons did sweep Rule 1 in the final, and I don't think anybody was really expecting that. I think everybody was expecting it to be much closer. A lot of people had Rule 1 winning in the final and overpowering Falcons, but that wasn't to be. So we're going to see why that wasn't to be, and what Falcons did to basically just completely shut out Rule 1, who are an extremely good team. They're still a newer team than Falcons are, of course, with the addition of Mossen recently. But a lot of people still had them winning in this grand final, and they didn't, and they weren't even close either. So yeah, we're going to try and see why that is. We're on board with Ahmad in this game. Next game, probably be on board with Khaled or TRK, haven't really decided yet, and then whichever person we're not on board with in this game and the next game we'll be on board with in the third game, and the fourth game probably Khaled, because for me he was the standout player in Team Falcons in this grand final in particular. I thought he was fantastic, and it's usually your TRKs or your Ahmads not doing all the work, but they're usually the MVP players, right? They're usually doing the fancy stuff, scoring the goals, and Khaled's usually that solid third man at the back. But for me, Khaled was their best player in the grand final, and as you can see, he got himself a nice goal there. Didn't quite go in directly off the shot. It was a good shot to the top left corner, but he got the follow-up to make it 2-0 in this game. And straight away, I'm already seeing Rule 1 not really getting into this game at all. I mean, I have watched this final. I didn't watch it intently, but I had it on, and I wanted to re-watch it, and I wanted you guys to watch it with me, because I wanted your opinions on why you think Rule 1 just weren't quite up to scratch in this grand final. Is it just a sort of mental block that they have on Falcons, or maybe it's just nerves? I mean, I'm not really sure. They weren't terrible by any means, and they do get themselves a goal here. The Twins linking up as usual, but something just wasn't right with Rule 1. I mean, they looked pretty comfortable throughout the tournament until they come across Falcons. So yeah, let's see why that is. Nearly halfway through this game, and for me, Falcons looking more rounded as a roster in this game. Usually they're just flying at the ball. They do leave the defences open a little bit sometimes, but in this game they seem like they're playing a bit more of a unit. I haven't really seen any double commits at all yet from Falcons, and that's another thing they do get a lot of. That's a really good pass from TRK, and a good shot from Ahmad, but it does get saved. Ahmad's going to have to try and get back to this one, which he will. But for me, yeah, Falcons just looked a bit more of a unit, and I think if we get this Falcons, they're going to be a danger to any team at any major. I hope we get this Falcons, because we need them up there. We need this team. Ideally, we need both teams in the majors. They've only got one spot in the MENA region to qualify for majors, which still I can't really understand why, because they're certainly not a weak region by any means. I mean, they're absolutely stacked as a region at the moment, and they're just going to keep getting better and better as well. So they should definitely have more than one spot at a major if possible, in my opinion. I think both of these teams deserve a shot at a major, but for me, you have to have Falcons there, because they're that team that they, on their day, I mean, if they're playing their best, on their day, they can beat absolutely anybody, right? And you can say that about any team, really. Any team can beat any team at any given moment. I just feel like Falcons, they have that surprise factor about them. They're very different to most teams, in my opinion. But in this game, as I was saying, looking more rounded as a team. There is a slight double commit there, as I was saying that, but not too dangerous, because TRK can pick it up and go forward. And this is going to be a solid shot from Ahmad to the bottom right corner. A good pass from TRK to carry it out, and too easy, honestly. Too easy for Falcons. Too much space. Rule 1 not really closing them down there. You can't give space to a team like Falcons, because they will capitalise. They're so quick. I'm noticing they're going for a hell of a lot of passes as well, which is good. You want to see that. I do think Falcons sometimes were very all-out and direct in their sort of solo plays, and that worked for him for a long time, don't get me wrong. But they've always had that link-up play as well. But in this game, in this final, I did notice that they were going for a lot of passes, and most of the time they were working. They were really opening up Rule 1 and sort of just really comfortably getting past them, getting around them, and getting plenty of shots off. So Rule 1 not really shutting out Falcons quick enough, in my opinion, in this first game in particular. We'll see what the other games are like. There is obviously 3 more replays after this one. I am going to show the whole series and try and show as many onboards as possible. Probably will stick with the POVs of the Falcons boys in this one, in this video. But we'll get on their POVs. We'll watch all of them at least once. Obviously there's 4 games, so some of them we're going to have to watch twice. That's a good shot from, I believe that was Ruas, off the crossbar and down. But it's a bit of a consolation goal. Only 17 seconds remaining and 2 goals down. Obviously it's possible, but unlikely. And as we know, that wasn't the case because they didn't win a series. Well, they didn't win a game in this series, I should say. Did Rule 1. Falcons did sweep them. So we're going to head on over to the second replay once this ball dies, which it should any moment now. I'll tell you what, we're just going to head over there straight away. Oh, there we go. It's finished anyway. Yep, okay. Replay number 2 incoming. Okay, game 2. I've decided to hop on board with O'Khalid in this game. I believe. Are they all using the same car in Falcons? I think they are. They might all be using the same car in Rule 1 as well as each other. Blue and orange. They're all using the Mina presets. All in Phoenix, I believe. There's no octanes, which might be something that's never happened before. But I believe in the most recent major that Fennec was the most used car, which is the first time that's ever happened. It's always been octane, but I believe it was in the previous major, the full major at the end of the year. I think it was that. I could be wrong with that. I've seen something somewhere. It might have been one of the regionals recently. It's a good bump goal for O'Khalid. It might have been one of the regionals recently. More Fennecs were used than octanes, and I can see why. I mean, there's 6 Fennecs in this lobby. I'm yet to see an octane here. I am looking for one, but I don't think there is one. So it's pretty interesting to see. Is Fennec now the meta? Is it now the main car? It's always been octane. But I have personally, my opinion on that, I've always obviously used octane like most people do, but I do like switching to Fennec, especially when I'm not having good games in the octane. I'll go to Fennec and feel much better. So maybe Fennec will be the main car now. I mean, it's always been a solid pick for pros for a long time now. I think it was Shellset that sort of started that. I can't remember what season exactly, but he was basically the best pro in the world at the time because he switched to Fennec, and then he was just like the best pro in the world, and everyone was like, "What is this car?" And now, yeah, everybody's using it. Interesting fact there, if you didn't know that. Yeah, it was Shellset who started that. Good little pre-jump there from O'Khalid just to stop that play and come in, just to try and scare off the opponents. So far in this game, a little bit tighter of an affair than the first game. But O'Khalid, for me, is still the player who's making things work here. He's getting very good challenges on the ball. Very good rotations as well. Again, not many double commits from Falcons, which is good. That's something that they needed to tidy up in their game, in my opinion. And obviously, this is in their region, so they're going to be more comfortable. But it looks like they've sort of tidied that up from what I'm seeing, from what I'm gathering so far. They do look much better. I mean, obviously, Falcons have never been a bad team. They just had a little bit of blip in performance recently and not performing at the last major. You know, a little bit disappointing. I think we all wanted to see them up there, but that wasn't to be. And I'm hoping in the next major they will be up there. They will be contending at the top. It would be nice to see them taking some big names down like they have before. And with the way they're playing here in this particular series, there's no reason why they can't. They look like a very, very solid all-round team at the moment. Good comms. I assume it's good comms because they're not really getting in each other's way. Good block from O'Khalid. He's carried the ball out. He's taken it past 3 players here and bumped the final player a couple times. Almost getting himself a good assist there for his teammate, but the ball is taken away from, I believe that was Musson. Khalid's going to go up for this and try and dunk Musson on the backboard. Now he's just been a nuisance on the backboard, is O'Khalid. He's just sticking around. He's not leaving too quickly on these plays. He's just sticking around and making sure he's getting in the way, being annoying. That's what you got to do in this game. You know, you want to put as many bumps in as you can. If you don't score the goal or you don't get a good pass off, don't leave straight away, especially in 3v3. You know, try and, on your way out, try and grab a bump or something just be annoying. Sometimes that's the best thing to do, and the best way to help your teammates get a shot at least on target. Good clearance from Ahmad there, good little touch on his way back. So only 1-0 in this game. So yeah, a bit more of a cagey affair, but again, Rule 1 not really had many opportunities from what I've gathered. We'll have a look at the stats in this game. I forgot to do it in the last game, I do apologise for that. And if you did really want to know what the stats are, you would be able to find it online on ballchasing.com. I will try and from now on show the stats. A little bit of an awkward back pass from my man, not intentional of course. The ball did just sort of hit him and come off of him. But he gets a good clearance in the end there actually, off of O'Khalid. And so far, actually, scrap what I said, Rule 1 have more shots than Falcons at the moment, but they just don't look too dangerous, in my opinion, you know? And that's not something I thought I would say about Rule 1 after this grand final, because they are really a really dangerous team, arguably more dangerous than Falcons at times, especially with the link up of Kalirs and his brother Ruas. But it's not to be in this grand final. And yeah, again, a bit of a leaky defense as well. I mean, there's just too much space for Falcons to work with. Khalid has had a lot of space to work with in this game in particular on his POV, I've noticed. Yeah, it's just a little bit too easy for the Falcons boys, clearly. A little bit too direct from Rule 1, maybe. Maybe not throwing in enough infield passes, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. I mean, that's a good pass there, but it's going to be an easy clearance off the backboard. And that is going to be game once the ball hits the floor. And there it is. We're going to go over to replay and game number 3. Actually, I said I was going to show the stats. Almost forgot. So there's the final scoreboard in this game. Khalid being the standout player in this particular one. But yeah, actually only 4 shots for Falcons and 6 for Rule 1. So not many shots for either team, really. It's a bit of a cagey affair, but for me, Rule 1's chances didn't look as dangerous as Falcons, and they didn't in the first match either. So let's go over to match 3 then. Okay, game 3, on board with TRK this time around. So let's see what Falcons do in this game, and as you already know, they obviously win because they 4-0 Rule 1 in the grand final. I'm not going to try and pretend that you guys don't know. I'm not going to try and hide that fact. This replay is simply just about seeing how and why they were so easily able to beat Rule 1 in the grand final. Because again, I don't think anybody, including myself, expected it to be this easy. I didn't know who was going to win. I didn't predict this region. I don't know enough about the region entirely to do predictions, so I didn't think it would be fair to predict or to do my predictions, so I basically just didn't do it. But obviously we all thought that it would be a grand final of Falcons and Rule 1, right? They're the obvious 2 picks. And which way would I have had it going? I'm not entirely sure. I really don't know between these two. I really don't know. It was one of those matches in my mind, and again in a lot of people's minds, that could have gone either way, depending on who showed up. And if they both show up, it would have just been a really tight affair, but clearly only one team showed up in this grand final, and that is Falcons, and they do look a lot like their old selves, but something about them is a little bit more, I don't know how to explain it, but from what I'm seeing, it's a little bit more professional. I don't know if that's the right word to use. I'm not saying they weren't professionals before, of course they were, they all are, but it's a little bit more well worked from Falcons. They don't seem to be panicking as much. You know, they don't seem to be just hitting the ball just because they can. They're seeing their opportunities and they're taking them really well. You know, they're not just pumping the ball forward as hard and as fast as they can and hoping for the best. They're taking their time. They're looking for passes, and it's good to see. It's a good pop from TRK up to Ahmad, who does get beat by Mossen. Khalid is going to pick this one up, try and take it all the way himself, almost sneaking that one in there from TRK. There was a bump on the line there, that probably would have gone in. I'm just going to leave this for TRK, almost a really nice shot. Turns out to be a goal in the end on the rebound for Ahmad. And it's 1-0 in this game, just over 2 minutes played. And again, Rule 1 finding themselves a goal down. That they haven't been a goal up at all yet in any of these series. They haven't got the first goal. So, you know, you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage when you can't even score the first goal in a game. Sometimes it's good to get that first blood. And that probably should have been a goal there from Ruas. Was that just a bad miss? Or was it just a hard shot? Let's have a look. It wasn't Ruas, sorry. It was I mean, it's a difficult one because he couldn't get over it. Who was that? Kalirs. It was a hard shot to get over, I guess. We're going to try and find TRK again. Here we are. We're on board with TRK now. Halfway through this game. Yeah, I'm not sure if he could have scored that one. I mean, if he got over the ball quicker, of course it would have gone in. But easier said than done. It was one of those sort of, the quicker you react, the more likely you were going to score. But your actions as a human can only be so quick, right? So, a good attempt, I guess, from Khalid. Maybe it should have been a goal, who knows. 2 minutes left in this game. And for me, and I'll keep echoing what I'm saying, and I apologise if I sound like a broken record, but yeah, Falcons just look like more of a team than Rule 1 in this particular match. And I'm not saying Rule 1 are overrated or aren't playing as a team. They usually do. It's just that Falcons have simply kept them quiet and not given them much to play with. In the past, Rule 1 obviously have beaten Falcons. They know they can. And they've dominated them sometimes. But yeah, in this one, I mean, that's almost a second goal for Ahmad, who doesn't quite read that rebound there. TRK almost getting a goal for himself as well, but not quite. And that would have been a nice 2-0 lead for Falcons, but as we know, it doesn't matter because they win this game anyway. I think what Rule 1 have to try and do is just get in Falcons' face a bit more, maybe throw in a bit more aggressiveness. I've not seen many demos at all. Well, there's one. As I say that, I don't know who it was on, but I heard a bang. I think it was Khalid demoing somebody. I could be wrong, or demoing each other. Who knows? But I just don't feel like there's enough. See, I've been on board with TRK in this game the whole time, and I don't think he's been bumped yet, you know? And that's a player that you need to take out of the game as much as possible. Because he's their danger man. Although, for me, Khalid was their best player in this grand final. Overall, I still think TRK is the danger man on this Falcons roster. You know, he's the one who's going to make things work and make some dangerous plays. So, yeah, not enough demos, not enough aggression, which is surprising because I figured these players would be quite aggressive. They usually are. See, TRK, they get himself a demo just before he leaves the play. You know, he swoops across the Rule 1 goal, gets himself a demo. Yes, it doesn't amount to anything, but it could have. It could have. You know, he's taken a player out of the game completely. There is another demo in the midair there. I don't think that was intentional. It was just somebody trying to go for the ball, ended up taking the player instead. Good clearance from TRK on the backboard with no boost. A little bit of an awkward moment for Falcons, who are low on boost, but as we know, they do win this game. TRK with another block with 0 boost. Needs some help from his teammates, so Khalid is going to try and put this one down. Not quite. Roas does keep it up though. It's a little bit dangerous. Khalid is going to try and put it down again. Khalid keeps it up. Roas keeps it up. Roas again. That's a solid clearance from Ahmad. Found himself some boost. Can he put this one down? The ball's going to go down. Okay, there is another game. Game 4. Let's go and watch that one out and watch the series close out. Okay, game 4. Let's see what Rule 1 can do in this one. I mean, we know they lose, so I don't know why I keep saying that. But again, as I was saying in the last game, they haven't had the first goal yet. Roas with a good attack. And that probably should have been the first goal from Mawson. I do believe they get the first goal in this game, if I remember rightly. Khalid's on the ball here. Almost getting himself a shot on target, but not quite, because it is blocked by Khalid, who we are on board with once again. And that should be the first goal, yeah. I thought they did. I thought they did. Khalid's with the first goal of this game, and the first time that Rule 1 go a goal ahead. So all they've got to do in this game now, and again, it's easier said than done. I'm saying all they do, but it's easier said than done. All they have to do is see the game out. In my mind, when you go 1-0 up this early, you don't just sit back. You know, you got to keep attacking, get as many goals as you can, and just bury the game. They've got not really much to lose now. They're 3 games down in series score, so you know, just throw everything you've got. Get as aggressive as you possibly can. Chuck a player forward every now and then. Make them go beyond the ball and get a demo. A bit like what Space Station do, or did do a lot when Rettles was on the team. I think they still do it as a team, but not as much. You know, you always saw Arsenal and Rettles just running forward looking for a demo. Yeah, it's not pretty, but you know, if you want to win or you're looking to make a comeback, it's a good way to start. Not many demos yet in this game, but the game has been, I will say, which I'll give them credit to both teams, is that it's been largely an aerial based matchup. You know, the ball is in the air a lot between these two teams, so obviously it's more difficult to get demos when the ball's in the air, right? Oh, that's almost a really good double from Khalid, and not quite on target, unfortunately. But maybe, yeah, maybe that's another thing for Rule 1, you know, try and switch it up instead of taking it in the air, because they're getting beat in the air a lot and they're getting blocked in the air a lot. Maybe they need to just sort of control the ball a bit. I mean, if you watch Rule 1, they're sort of reminding me of what Falcons' weakness was when they weren't playing as well, and that's when they were just pumping the ball forward, you know, instead of taking a bit of time sometimes, a bit of control of the ball. Maybe try and look for one of your teammates. I feel like Rule 1 are just sort of firing everything they can, and it's not really working. And when I say firing everything they can, I don't mean it in a way that they're going all out. I mean they're just sort of firing the ball forward every chance they get. Ruas here is slowing the game down a little bit. That's good. I think that's good. You want to slow. I mean, obviously it hasn't worked. Commentators cast, typical. But for me, that's good. You know, you kind of want to slow it down. But you also need a teammate to come in and help you out as well when you slow it down. You know, you want someone to take over. You want the transitions to change really quickly to try and catch Falcons off guard instead of just firing shots forward, firing the ball forward. You know, that's a good start. That's a good demo there on the line. It did take Khalid out of the game, and it's good to take him out of the game, especially when they're attacking, because Khalid is the, if you like, third man on Falcons. You know, he is that solid man. I mean, I don't know if he is the third man really. They might have switched roles, and that's why they're playing better. But he's usually the man that's making them goal line saves. You know, good demo from Khalid though to take out the offense this time. Don't always have to be demoing when you're attacking. You can be demoing when you're defending as well to take out the attackers. Khalid shows us that just there. And Khalid's just playing fantastically in this game. He's getting everything, you know, he's getting every 50-50 and clearing the ball afterwards as well. His speed is unbelievable. He's been really quick. It's great to see, because I'm a big Khalid fan. I watch a lot of 1v1s, so obviously, you know, for me, Khalid is one of the greatest 1v1 players of all time. So it's good to see him performing in 3v3 as well, and finding his role. I mean, he's always been good on Falcons, don't get me wrong, but usually the quiet one, I would say, out of the three. He's usually the name that sort of doesn't get mentioned as much. Good pass from Khalid. Ahmad, back to Khalid. He's going to try and carry it, and he does dunk it on Rule 1's goal line. Good little play there. And that's not what we've seen out of Rule 1. And maybe because Falcons just haven't given him space or a chance to do something like that. Again, there was a lot of space there and a lot of opportunity for Falcons, and nobody on Rule 1 really trying to intervene. You know, Khalid was able to pass the ball to Ahmad in the midfield, who was able to pass it back. And even then, there wasn't a guy challenging Khalid from the shot. They was all on the goal line. You know, you got to have that one man sort of flying out and just trying to get in the way. But again, I don't know what the situation was. They might have all had zero boost, you know, so you got to take it with a pinch of salt sometimes. I just don't think they've done enough to stop Falcons in this series overall at all. I think Falcons have had it far too easy, and that's not taking credit away from Falcons, because I think they've played very well as a team, as a unit. They look like a proper unit in this series. Sometimes they lack. Sometimes it's just sort of a lot of individual plays and they don't really work, as I've said previously. But here, they look really sharp. They look like a unit. They look really sharp, which is good. It's good to see. And they're clearly well up for this game. And yeah, I'm not too sure why Rule 1 weren't so good in this series. They just look very flat. And yeah, not really aggressive enough against Falcons. And defensively given Falcons way too much space. Simple as that. They've just been outpaced everything. And when they could get a block, they haven't really. Ahmad's going to try and kill this. Not quite able to kill it there. It is kept up by Rule 1, but there we go. Khalid does dunk it down for a very impressive 4-0 sweep in a grand final against Rule 1 for Team Falcons. Didn't show the stats in the last game again, did I? Because I'm an idiot. But as you can see, you know, me saying Rule 1 maybe not getting in the face of Falcons a lot, but the shots say otherwise. They had a lot of shots in this game, 11 to be exact. And Khalid, 4 saves. Unbelievable. So defensive work from Falcons obviously has been really good. And Rule 1's defensive work, not so much. A little bit leaky at the back, a little bit too much space, like I said, for Falcons to work with. You know, Falcons were easily counter-attacking in that, especially that game. They were making pretty comfortable saves, I would say, were Falcons. And then the transition for Falcons was way too easy. They were coming out with the ball, plenty of space to work with, plenty of space to look for some passes, some 1-2s. And yeah, just too easy for Falcons overall. If you guys agree, let me know. If you don't agree, let me know what your opinion is on why Falcons were so much better than Rule 1 in this final. I fully believe Rule 1 have so much potential. You know, they've got so much potential in that team. And they're already a great team, don't get me wrong. This is just a bad series for them. but they have beaten Falcons in the past and looked better than Falcons in the past. But if Falcons can keep putting it together like this, I'll be a happy man, because yes, I'm not from the Middle East, I'm not from North Africa, I'm not from over there. I am European, I am from the UK, but I love this team. I love this Falcons team. I always have, and we need them at our events. We need them at the RLCS events. Even though most of the events are in Europe or North America, it's good to see Falcons representing the MENA region. And again, like I said earlier, it would be nice to see a couple of spots for the MENA region. I think both Falcons and Rule 1 could definitely do some serious damage to some of the European teams and some of the North American teams. So, yeah, it's a shame there's only one spot. Falcons will be at the next major by the looks of it. And I think if they play how they played in this final, they can do some serious damage. And we'll see the old Falcons back. If you guys enjoyed this video, do leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do consider doing so. I would really appreciate it if you could. If you have been enjoying the videos, of course. Don't subscribe if you didn't enjoy it. What's the point? But if you have been enjoying this, or if you've enjoyed this video and have been enjoying previous videos, and you haven't subscribed, then please do so. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you all very soon.